Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
The term theatre of speed is probably the most apt way to describe Bristol Motor Speedway, which sees round 3 of the ARL Truck Series, the half-mile oval, which has been among the most popular NASCAR tracks since its inception, all the way back in 1961, with giant grandstands towering high above the high bank track on all sides. Bristol is probably the closest modern equivalent to a Roman gladiatorial arena. Billed as the world's fastest half mile, Bristol is a fan favourite, if for no other reason than it's different. The concrete track, twin pit lanes and furious nature of racing make it one of the biggest spectacle, not just in NASCAR, but also of this season. I am Tim Cox. We've got John Robson in the virtual production trailer, but right now I'm joined by Charles Bashal. Charles, very much a contrast to the two opening rounds, Daytona and Michigan. High-speed ovals tonight, a completely different challenge for the drivers.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks, Tim. Yeah, welcome to the Coliseum. This is it's a very special place for NASCAR. It is one of the older tracks. Very fast, even though it's small. You're going to get a lot of speeds down the straights, and then you've got that 33 degrees of banking in the corners to help propel you around for the next lap.
It's going to be fast and furious with a lap time around about 15 seconds. Let's take a look at the championship standings. Well, Enoch Shable leading the way, despite not having a victory to his name so far this season. Best result he's picked up was the third in the opening round of Daytona. Andrew Bruce, second at the moment. One at Daytona, an awful Michigan looking for a bit of redemption. Mark Hutchinson running at the top 3 with only 1 point covering our top 3. Zalander in 4th, Leitner 5th, Redford winner last time out, he's 6th. He's not here today. He was meant to serve a qualifying ban last time out in Michigan, but failed to serve it, took the victory, and so he was allowed to keep the victory with the compensation of being disqualified from this round. Halford Arson is in 7th with Strix, Gunnarsson and Blix rounding out your top 10. Charles, still so close, but it's very early in the season tonight. It's going to be a bit of a gamble. I think you've got probably more chance of picking the numbers for the lottery than you've got of trying to work out who's going to come out of victory. And qualification, whether you're on pole or right at the back of the field, I think it's not going to matter too much tonight.
No, indeed, this is a lottery situation if you've ever seen one, because there's just nowhere to go. So if you get a car or a couple of trucks in front of you that spin or have contact, you end up being the next car arriving at the scene of the accident, as they say in other series. So yeah, it's going to be it's a very, like I said, very tight course. There's really only 2 lines through the corners, so it's going to be one of those. It's going to be exciting for sure, and it doesn't matter if you're starting first or starting last. You've got a chance to win this race.
We're about a minute away from qualifying, Charles. We were talking about earlier before the show, the tyres. It's going to be crucial, and also another part of the tricky conundrum that's going to come is if we have quite a long extended period of green flag racing. It's when we come up to those back markers, it's going to be a bit treacherous, especially when you've got those worn tyres. You're predicting about 20 laps for the tyres to last.
Yeah, I think when you get into the 25 to 30 lap range, the tires start wearing, and so you'll see the lap times slowly creeping up. They may be a second a lap slower before they come into the pits. And yeah, like I said, you get into lap traffic. This place, if you get a full, if you've seen a NASCAR race where you get a full 40 car field, it's basically just one big train all the way around the track. So safe passing is at a premium, and that may end up dictating who actually comes out with a victory.
It's going to be an interesting one. A lot of drivers seem to be favouring the low side at the moment during the banking. So we're moments away now from qualifying, which is going to be a fast and furious affair, to say the least, with those incredibly short lap times. I was saying earlier, the best lap times at the moment, solo of Alcantech. That's an Alcantech 1, 2, 3 right now. Around about the one. Sorry, normally used to say 1 minute. It's 14 seconds and 0.74. The best time in practice. The slowest time 15.16. A spread of only 0.4 of a second. I think it's time to buckle ourselves in because this is going to be a fast and furious qualifying.
Yeah, we've got 5 minutes to qualify to run 4 laps, and pretty much everybody's done at the end of 2 minutes. So we'll get a nice little break at the end of this probably. So yeah, it's they come fast and furious, and that's kind of one of the reasons why Bristol's so popular.
It is, as we see one of the 2 Fords in the field, Sven and Newman. The other Ford being piloted by Regis Clark. Let's see how Newman does. Going to be the first truck across the line, but pretty much joint with Hutchison. Lone qualifying. Schnabel, well, he's the first cross. There you go. Blakesley instantly displays some sticks. Time's coming in fast and furious now. Dixon Hutchison equal there on 14.9 for Newman. Only 0.02 of a second slower. The 7 truck into third. Schnabel goes quicker. 14.91 for Newman. Instant reply there. He's going quicker and quicker right now, Charles. 14.83.
Yeah, get this tires, some heat in the tires and burn off a little bit of fuel, and your lap times will pick up every lap.
Wow. Let's see who else is going to claim the first pole. Blakesley, Halford Darlington, Capel, even Schnabel have picked up the first 2 pole positions of the season. We're going to see a different driver. Newman looking good at the front right now in the F150. It's Gunnison. Well, he goes third. A great lap from him. The fastest of anyone in Sector 1. That's qualifying done and dusted for him, though. He can't improve. Likewise, as Halford Darlington moves up into 7th in the 81, he's not improved. He can't improve now. He's completed his 4 laps. As Leitner goes up into 10th. He's got another lap to go. Well, if he can improve his support, Sector 1, though, from him, he's got all the work to do in the second half of the track. There's Nevery in 12th. Roos, your winner for the first time out in Daytona. He goes 14th, looking for improvement and redemption after the last time. Solo, big story coming out right now. Unless he can pull something out in this final lap, which doesn't look like he's doing. Well, he's going to start well down the field. Quickest during practice, but only good enough for 8th, improving up from 15th there at the depths of qualifying. Wow, that's a bit of a story as well. He says to place there, Sufi goes up into 6th in the Toyota.
Yeah, the lap times are just, once again, when we're talking about practice, even in qualifying, the lap times are just very close. 4 tenths between the top 1 to top 20, or to P20, excuse me.
It's incredibly tight, isn't it? It's absolutely, the spread is ridiculous. It's looking like we're done and dusted in qualifying. McManus, Sariana and Mignot not setting times. They're going to be starting from the back. They still have time to get out onto track. Not done and dusted here in qualifying. We've got about minute 40 left on the clock for them to get some times in. Campbell still out on track, looking to just keep going, trying to get in that last bit of practice right into the final seconds before we head across into the race. And the Canadian, well, he had some strong running in rounds 1 and 2, but got caught up in incidents and not, well, starting from where he may like to have done, all the way down in 20th as Sariano heads out into a World Discovery to start his qualifying. He's not, actually, no, apologies, he will get his laps in. Due to the short nature, it'll be a bit close. He'll definitely get 3 of them in, but he's going quite slowly there on his first lap, isn't he, Charles?
He is indeed. So I'm not really sure why the delay. Maybe he was having issues, hardware issues. But he's on the track now. See if he can put a couple of lap times on the board.
Roos still got another of his laps to go. See if he manages to improve at all. Wow, that time's going to be deleted, even if he was going to improve. So he remains down in 16 in the 48 Chevrolet. But right now, trying to build up the speed is the Fierce Racing Team driver, Sariano, another of our Chevrolet runners. But what can he do? 21st for his first lap time, well off the pace, 16.61. Build up the momentum, or I'm not too sure based on these times, Charles, whether he's electing just to try and qualify right at the back.
I think that's what he's trying to do. I think he's just saying, I'm going to play it safe. Maybe he's not completely confident in his ability on track, or he's just trying to play it safe. But he did get at least a closer lap time in the last lap that he ran. So we'll see what he's going to do. Maybe he's just laying in back and laying, and hopefully he's going to make up spots from trouble.
Definitely, let's find out. Let's take you through the grid. Newman picking up pole position, and well, a third different pole position holder so far this season. 6 joins him on the front row for all core sim racing front row. Then it's first the Alcantech runners, Gunnarsson. He's joined by Spitzmüller of wannabe SRT. Then Salander Sufi, who had a great last-minute lap in qualifying. Stable and Halfadar to make an all-Alcantech 4th row of the grid. Then it's Solo and Blakesley rounding out your top 10 in the 5th row, with the 6th row being Hutchinson and Norbert Leitner. Regis Clark and Jason Nevery, an all-American and all-Indy Auto Sport 6th row of the grid, with Kisselman and Andrew Roos starting alongside one another. Blix and Gladder make up the 9th row of the grid, with Capel and Matt Campbell looking for a bit of redemption, as said earlier. Ran out top 20 in the 10th row of the grid. Sariano, we saw there, looking to qualify right at the back on purpose, we believe. Joe Manus lines up alongside him on the 11th row of the grid. And then Mignot, your last driver, got the whole road to himself. In 23rd has the Spaniard. So we just wait for the last of the drivers to grid up, and we'll be heading off behind the pace truck. What's going to be some fast and furious racing. 150 laps. We've got 1 hour, 20 minutes in which to complete them in. Right, Charles, if we go green for a considerable amount of time, especially like we saw in the first round at Daytona, we'll definitely get in within the time limit. But it's if we have quite a few yellows, which doesn't take much to have that at Bristol, let's face it, could end up having a time-limiting race rather than the 150 laps we're meant to be running.
Yeah, if we get into a situation like we had toward the mid to later parts in Michigan, where we were getting caution after caution, then yeah, that time limit's in jeopardy. It'd be interesting to see how hard everybody pushes at the beginning of this race and what the two teams, Alcantech and Indy Autosport, do because they're lined up near the front again, so on the inside. And then we've got the two core cars in front, so we'll see how the team strategy plays out as well as individual driving strategies.
Well, we don't have a long to find out indeed who's going to claim the victory here today at Bristol in round 3 of the ARL Truck Series Season 2. Lights off on the pace truck. It's going to be in this lap. We will be going green for the first time this evening. I'm sure we're going to see the two core sim racing drivers blocking off those two lanes and securing the front. Oh, we're going to see one of the Alcantech guys behind them push through. Well, it's Muller of wannabe SRT. He's worked well with his teammates previously, but has to do it alone. Rue's well down through the field, but let's find out. Pace truck is in as we go green and we go racing at Bristol. Well, Newman already straight on the gas, nice and early on, but Gunnarsson already trying to apply a bit of pressure onto Sticks, who's just letting for the high line right now in these early stages. Looking at the rear of the field, everyone just nice and calm, playing it nice and cautious as all the 37 down onto the apron. They're losing a lot of places. That Sticks, for what was a comfortable position at the front, he's now caught up in the midfield, Charles.
Yeah, I wonder if he caught the apron as he was diving down to the bottom that it kind of upset his truck, or maybe he looks like now maybe he's he's going to the pits.
Oh, that's Newman as well from the front. They are both into the pits early on, and this is a bit of a strange strategy from the pair of them. The only thing I could think of is that they're serving penalties, so they're going to go a lap down at least here.
It's either they're serving penalties or this smells like maybe they can do a fuel run at the end of the race. So they're just topping up the tanks and trying to make this so this is be their only stop. I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
It's well, we've seen strategy play a part this season already. We're seeing it here again. It's well, definitely. Well, Sticks stopped for only 2 seconds. Newman stopped for a bit longer. There's battling in the midfield. Lightner's had a good start. He's already at 5 places. Hutchinson ahead of him. He's up 6. There's the 64 there of Gladden. Of Kapal down onto the apron. And we've got our first caution of the evening. Pace truck is out.
I didn't even see where that caution came from.
No, I'm not too sure either. I think something's happened to Santiago Mineo, the Iberian. Has he clipped the wall? Let's find out together. See exactly what's happened. Oh, there you go. Loses the rear end.
Yep.
And
hits the wall on the inside.
Parks his truck and heads straight to the pits. Now, the only thing that worries me about this, Charles, we know cautions breed cautions.
Yeah, that's the one thing that you're gonna have to worry about here. Is okay, but it's be a double file restart probably, and so we'll start over and we'll see if everybody can keep it clean. But the later we get into these runs with people that are trying to extend their tire life, makes those double file restarts more and more difficult.
Well, I've got a few people electing to head into pit road. Halford Darton and McManus have dived in, electing to use this first cautionary period to try and take on a bit of fuel. And a lap down now are Sticks and Newman. See if one of them's going to get the... Well, actually, apologies. Newman actually 2 laps down because he was stationary for a whole 18 seconds. So a few more problems there as Halford Arson. Well, he's had a bit of a skim with the wall there, hasn't he, the AC1?
He has indeed. So, yep, he's trying to repaint his truck a little bit at a time, and that's I'm not sure how that happened either. So it's interesting. So.
It's definitely interesting. Now, the drivers do have one fast repair available to them, and it's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it, Charles? Because do you use it early, or in Halford Arson's case, or do you elect to utilize it a bit later in the race where you know, maybe there's a bigger wreck and it would come in handy. But then again, you know, playing catch-22, other side of the coin, if you use it this early on, you manage to, you know, you get away with everything during the race, then at least you're remaining on the lead lap.
Yeah, for sure. I think the real question is you know, if you're just kind of scraping the wall and knocking the paint off, this is not very aero dependent track, so you can take a few bangs and bumps on the truck and still have good pace. It's when you hit the wall at the wrong angle and you maybe have damage to steering on the front. That's when you have to really consider, you know, taking that fast repair early and just kind of riding it out the rest of the race.
That's interesting. We saw Newman down on the apron heading through the pit road again there. Now, he's not sure he's being in. We've got the pace truck being in this lap. And Newman and Sticks not having the best of starts after locking out the front row. Now it's down to the back of the field. Pace truck will be in this lap, but will be going green once again, lap 11 out of 150. Gunnarson, Solander, Schnabel, Sufi. He's had a good start after a strong qualifying. Hutchison up 6 places into 5th. The 13 of Solo, he's climbed to 6th. Leitner, he's up 5 into 7th. Spitzmuller, once we saw that slight twitch from him, but the pace truck's in. He's down to 8th. Blakesley and Regis Clark running out the top 10 as we go green once again here at Bristol. And you can see those three Alkin Czech trucks. They've got complete and utter control of this, locking out the top 3. Team orders, team tactics, they can all work together to completely control this race now, Charles.
Yeah, absolutely. I see the leader and P3 is kind of working a little high. P2 is kind of running the low line. And I think obviously it's basically how well you manage your tires. The low line is going to work those tires a lot harder. If you can run the high line, you can conserve those tires.
Oh, Charles, sorry, it's going across you. There's been a crash in the background. We're going to go yellow here. There we go. There's a fair few drivers caught up in there. Halford Darson, I think, was one of them. The 11's in there. The 95. And there you go. Pace truck's out. Number 9 out too. That's McManus, who'd taken that pit stop in that last cautionary period. And if he hadn't done that, Charles, he would have been caught up in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see what happened. Oh, there you go. The 11 just got high and touched the 95. And yeah.
I couldn't tell. Once again, it's another one of those that apron, the difference in the angle between the track and the apron will sometimes catch a driver out, and it'll kick your nose up the track, and then you have to chase it. And if there's somebody on your outside, you're probably going to end up hitting them.
Well, this is on board for a Blix, the 95's point of view. Oh yeah, the big thing. I'm not even sure he caught the apron there, Charles. It's just
maybe just a wiggle.
Ridge.
Yep. I think it's a wiggle of the rear end. He tried to catch it, and you know, somebody's out there waiting to catch him.
Wow, drama already, and we're just over a 10th race distance. 2 cautionary periods already into pit road. Campbell in the 27, Halford Darson in the 81, Blix 95, Kittleman in the 11. They're all into pit road. And wow, it's looking treacherous out there in Bristol. Solo has climbed a place during the green flag conditions. He's up to 5th. Now only 1 place behind his cluster of teammates who are occupying and locking out that top 3 right now. It's only Sufi, the Belgium, in the Toyota. You can see him just there in the background. Number 32, who's blocking out these guys right now and preventing a dominant display.
Yeah, this type of race really benefits the guys that are up front because they can just run their pace and wait for the next caution to happen. Unfortunately, so it's going to be very tough for the people that have good pace in the back to try and make up the ground.
It's treacherous. It's tricky out there indeed, and these cautionary periods, Charles, this is surely just helping the drivers conserve their tyres and allow them to run deeper into the race.
Absolutely, it absolutely does help, and you're saving fuel also. So if you were looking to get a really long fuel run, this is going to play right into your strategy.
Got a whole different track next week. From relatively slow speed at Bristol, we're off to the high speed Talladega next week. We'll be shaking and baking it from there, but lights are out. Another pace track will be in this lap, and we'll be going green once again. How long will we last? Well, it remains to be seen. Can we have a prolonged period of green racing? Not long left to kind out. This car's just forming up down the back straight in front of the large screen here. Not as large as one at Charlotte. That held the world record for the largest outdoor HD screen in the world for quite a while. Available for useless facts, needless to say, but we're going green once again after our second cautionary period here at Bristol. And already, I tell you what, Solo straight past Sufi into the top four. Alcantech locking out those top four places. The 32, Sufi just slotting back in behind that 13. And, it's a bit tight in the midfield there, nearly 3 wide. And that is something you don't want to be doing here at Bristol, Charles.
No, 3 wide does not work here. 2 wide's tough enough. 3 wide's almost impossible.
I could hear the panic in your voice when I mentioned about 3 wide there. That just illustrates just how treacherous and dangerous it is to try and even attempt. Oh, the 54's been tagged. Sorry, it's this 64 even of Halford Darson. He's managed to keep it together somehow, Charles. I'm not sure how, but he's lost a ton of places in doing so.
He did. He just lost the rear coming through the corner, but he managed to catch it, and nobody hit him, so that's good. And so we can keep racing under green.
Nice. 64 Capal there, right down to 20th after some strong running in early stages, but they started to settle down a little bit. Drivers getting into their groove. As we're now on 4 laps of green running, and this is exactly what you want, just to get into your groove, isn't it, Charles? And just keep chipping away and, just start to slowly pick up places in these early stages.
Yeah, for sure. You want to just you want a nice big green flag run to get into your cadence of gas and brake. If you're confident in your pace, the longer these runs go, the better you're going to be.
I'll tell you what, one driver is
13 in the wall a little bit.
Yeah, that is the Solo just dropping in place. Norbert Leitner, he's had a good green flag session here and really giving Solo a run for his money right now. He's now up an incredible 8 places. And, wow, that low line, normally the low line, these shorter tracks tends to be the quicker line, doesn't it, Charles? But I tell you what, that 13 is really managing to carry all the pace right around the outside, and after losing that place, I think he might claim this back here.
Yeah, it's how hard you want to push your tires. If you can run the low line, it is the fastest way around the track. However, you can run the high line. You can carry so much more speed into the corner that it makes it difficult to get around you.
Well, there you go. The 13 back in front of the 29. So Solo back ahead of Leitner. Ruse, though, I tell you what, we haven't mentioned about him. He qualified near the back, and that 48 is now up an incredible 10 places. Started in 16th, and he's got a teammate in front of him. And maybe these two could start to work together to retake the fight to the Alcantech drivers ahead of them, because, well, I think Leitner really does need a bit of a partner in crime, someone to buddy up with and try and bully the Alcantechs in front of him to try and make some progress.
He's doing a really good job. He has moved up quite a number of positions. Some of that's due to his pace, and some of it's due to people having trouble. But it's so hard to, once you get to a certain point, that you have to have quite a bit of pace over the car in front of you in order to make a move here.
So see in the group behind, different lines being favoured right now. Some going high, some low. This group being led right now by the 32 32 of Sufi. He's dropped a place. He's down to 7th, started in 6th. Right now, it seems like to me the 73 of Hutchinson starting to feel like it's being a bit held up, but I tell you what, the top 2 of Gunnarsson and Schnabel really pulling out a gap on Solander, and wow, Dolo dropping time. And as I predicted, Charles, the 2 wannabe SRT drivers, Lightner and Rouge, starting to gang up and pick off the Alcantech drivers one by one. Solo nearly dispatched off by the pair of them. Next on the cars is the 40 of Solander in that Chevrolet.
Yeah, it looks like that that Rouge is having a little trouble making moves on the bottom. His teammate in front passed the 13 truck on the outside. Maybe that needs to be his line, but maybe the 13 has also noticed that and has taken that line away.
I've just spotted the 48 there. He's electing to come up high and then head back down low, almost to sort of like take it as like a double apex each of the bankings to try and generate some speed on the way back down, to try and get the run on that 13. It's the 13 getting past the 40 there.
And so now you're just having to play the waiting game as far as the 48 is concerned. He's got to wait for the 13 to get cleared, and then he can start working on the 40 truck.
Well, I'll tell you what, the 40, that is Solander. He was in 3rd, and he is dropping like a stone on his wall, a bit of argy-bargy. That is the Sufi in the 32, just getting into, sorry, the 73 of Hutchinson getting into the back of the 32. Sufi currently, well, highest running Toyota right now, but under a lot of pressure from Hutchinson as these two still side by side.
Yeah, that's the other way to pass a truck here, which is not necessarily the most respected way, which the NASCAR term is bump and run. Other terms would be punt to pass if you're an iRacer. So it is a way to make moves, but obviously you end up losing. You know, you're not making friends when you do that.
IndyCar, they have push to pass. Here in NASCAR, we have punt to pass. So this getting a bit tight and a bit treacherous in this, I would say, midfield group, but it's pretty much from the 40 there of Solander all the way back down, and we're starting to see that Roos has got another teammate, Spitzmuller, who qualified well. Oh, we're going to have another yellow here. That's the 14 around. That's Samo Sariano, who had qualified poorly. We believe by choice, and everyone's just trying to sort themselves out right now, get into some sort of order. But
yeah, I think I heard on the radio that somebody took the blame for that incident. So,
well, let's find out. We're already on board now with Matt Campbell. Was it him? Oh, the 14 got a bit loose there and had to back out of the throttle, and oh wow, that was nearly a bigger wreck than what it actually ended up being.
Yeah, just, looked like the both trucks were starting to feel the effects of the from the longer run on the tires.
Let's take a little look. There's the 14. Oh, it's a bit of netcode. That's what caused it.
Also. Yep, for sure.
I tell you, it was well held by Campbell as well. Here comes everyone into pit road pretty much. It's only Gladden of Vulcan Sim Racing, the 34 Toyota, that's elected pretty much to stay out. Everyone else from 1st through 19th has come into the pit. You see one long, train right now as they head around past the secondary pit lane on the back straight away into the first pit lane, which we're using here today at Bristol.
Yeah, but that's one thing we haven't talked about is you have to drive the entire length of the track in the pits because it's using the single pit only for this event.
So who is going to come out where? We've had some drivers not pit, so Gladden did not pit. He will be your new leader. And pretty much, due to the nature of the track and obviously coming into cautionary period, everyone stayed where they are. Identical pit times. Hutchinson's dropped a couple of places. The 73, he was stopped for about 3 seconds longer. And that's what's caused him to drop those places. But interestingly, Newman electing to pit despite being, well, a lap down. And Stix has made up a couple of places after qualifying on the front row in second. As Gladden now heads into the pit, so he missed it. It wasn't him intentionally electing to stay out.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's unfortunate because now he's dropping back to the back of the field again, which is not necessarily bad because you're not in the middle of any restart chaos that may happen.
According to what I'm seeing, Campbell elected to stay out in the 27. Yeah, there you go. There he is. He's at the front of the train. Now, that is... He did stop on lap 16, Charles. We're currently on lap 50. And... Well, that's a bold strategy.
That is extremely bold. I don't think that's going to pay off for him. But once again, if he can stay in the front and avoid the mid pack, potential troubles in the mid pack, he might could stay up and get a good result out of this. But I think it's probably a bit early to be trying something like that.
Hold on. I'm looking at this, and he's actually... No, he's a lap down, so he didn't get the wave around, but he's made his way to the front of the field.
Okay.
I've heard from his spotters radio that he's going to pull over on the back straight. Let's see, as we're green once again. There you go. The field darting through, so he's going to be a lap down. But... Look at the two wannabe SRT drivers. You can see, is we're going to have a caution? No. Everyone avoids it. Everybody keeps straight. And Charles.
Great driving by everybody to get all that caught back up. Bad news for the 40. Dropped several spots on that restart because of that.
Well, that is Solander, isn't it? Who he was running in third, and then he started dropping some places. To about fifth in the last caution, but really, really struggling right now, which is surprising because he's got fresh rubber in the truck, and well, you can see the scuffed up rear, well, both rear quarter panels, alongside the bed of that truck. Oh, that Chevrolet have really scuffed up the rear as well. Doesn't affect things too much. It's almost getting into the back of Spencer Muller, the 53, just ahead of him.
Yeah. Maybe he was just having. Maybe he just had a little trouble with cold tires, and was expecting it to hook up a little better than it did.
And well, I'll tell you what, it's not been. It's been a race here of rags to riches, hasn't it? You've had one or the other, and very few in between. We've got Rusi's up 13th. He's now into third in the 48. We've got Blix, who's up 10 in 7th in the 95. But Manus, he's come from the back of the pack. He's up 11 into 11th in the 9. But then we've got, like, Solander, he's well down. Stix, Fitz Muller has dropped heavily as well. Newman, too. These guys who are qualifying in the front, who haven't necessarily been involved in action, in fact, are, they're well down.
Yeah, indeed. I think the cautions and have really shaken up the field, and we'll just see how if these guys got any pace, they can work their way back up to the front.
Wow, let's find out, because I tell you what can Schnabel? Well, these two have swapped places because Solo was ahead of Schnabel, so the 88 ahead of the 13 right now, but. I'd say this group up in front, Gunnison, he is 4th in the 33, Leitner 5th in the 29, and Chevrolet locking out the top 5. We've got Sufi in the Toyota, the 32, 6th, but he's dropping off the back of this group right now. And this top 5 starting to break away, and these guys will be hoping, for as long green flag running as possible to extend that gap out and just give themselves that bit of bracing pace, bit of breathing space even, Charles. Like you were saying earlier, just to try and look after those tyres and, as you rightly said earlier, just run the race at their own pace.
That's it. And speaking of that, I was looking at the 48. He's running really good lap times in third. So it may be he may be in a good position now to where he can actually work his way and challenge for the lead for this race.
We are on lap 64 out of 150 here at Bristol. Yes. You get to appreciate the speed and the noise of this amphitheatre of a circuit. And you can really appreciate from these brilliant camera angles that John Robertson, the virtual production show, is bringing to us right now, just how close these drivers are getting to the walls, Charles.
Yeah, Campbell's doing a really good job staying high and staying out of the way. Obviously, his truck's battered to a point that he can't keep up with the pace of the pack.
Let's move around into 67 laps now, and a bit of an interesting one there. The 48. I don't know if you caught that there, Charles. Just sliding around the midpoint of the corner through turns 1 and 2.
No, I actually didn't see that.
He just sort of drifted up mid-corner a bit, and I don't know, like you say, you don't want to push these tyres too early on because well, as we saw from that last green period, we had quite a bit of lengthy running, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And yeah, especially there at the end before the last caution. But yeah, I think he's doing a good job. He's just letting the tires do what they want to do. He's taking it down to the corner and just kind of floating the truck back up, bleeding the speed, and then getting back on it once he gets past the apex.
32 there of just trying to see, sorry, 95 really applying for a bit of pressure onto the 32 Sufi, sorry, yes, that's Blitz on Sufi. Hutchinson 73 trying to find some places. Blakesley in there too, who picked up the fastest lap at Daytona and darts down to the inside goes Hutchinson, that's 73, but can't quite get the move done. And now in the threat from the 17 of Blakesley, who got such a better run off the corner, Charles, and that's just backed them up and brought McManus in that 9 right into this fight. So what was a 4-way fight, now becoming a 5-way fight. And talking of fights, Leitner just can't seem to quite get the move done on that 33 of Gunnarsson.
Yeah, I think as what we're seeing is people are trying to run that low line, and there's speed there, but there's not enough speed to make a pass on the trucks that are running the higher lines. So you see 95 is kind of the cork in the bottle for this little group. A couple of laps ago, the 32 tried to go low and had to back out of it because he didn't have the pace, which gave 73 a chance to make a move down low, which, of course, obviously, as we just talked about, there's not enough pace down there to pass a car that's got a good run through the high line.
I tell you, the 32 losing place after place after place right now. That's 3 places in pretty much as many laps as that's 9 of McManus. Up another place, that's up 14 now. I tell you what, the Sufi and that 32, that truck has no pace, it seems, right, so whatsoever right now, because there's the 73 of Hutchinson making his way past. And Sufi, it just seems to be just struggling. He's running that lower line, but there's just no pace down there whatsoever, Charles. I think maybe he needs to alternate his strategy a bit and start running a bit higher.
I think so. I think that's what I would be doing right now, especially now that we're starting to get a longer green flag run. Is we want to maximize our pace through the corners, and the low line just doesn't seem to have it right now.
That is the 34 of Gladden in the Toyota into pit road, which is a bit of an odd one because he did pit with everyone else back on lap 47. We are on 79. So we're pretty much at that cusp of those tyres, really starting to wear out. But I mean, he's going to fall a lap down here, Charles. So I'm not sure. Everyone else is on the same age tyres. Would it not have been better just to keep out there and just keep chipping away for it, due to the amount of time you're going to lose here? I
mean, yeah. If you were just if you were just trying to keep your tires, then yeah, that's what I would do. But maybe he just did not feel comfortable on the older tires, or he had maybe hit the wall and maybe wanted to come in and get a few seconds of damage repaired.
Oh, talking the wall, Charles, the 17. That's the second time in one lap that's skimmed the wall midway between the 2 turns. Or, or is he? Because that seems to be the line he's electing to run. There's a bit of damage on that front right. Guffed up down the right side, but he's not the only one with that sort of damage. But losing a bit of pace right now is Blakesley in that 17 Toyota, the highest of the Toyota runners right now. But I'm not sure if that was on purpose. I mean, if he wasn't scuffing the wall, he was getting incredibly close to it.
Yeah, it's the entry, you can run that high line, but you need to be very, very aware that you can't get back on the throttle too quickly.
Charles, that is the 9 of McManus. I tell you what, he's had a flying race, hasn't he? He's up 16 so far, and actually make this nearly 17, as that's the 95 of Blix. He's having a good strong race himself. He's up 12, but McManus is finding pace right now when no one else can. Those two Alcantech trucks, the 95 and the 33, they're dropping through the order. They've been enveloped into this group as the 95 runs wide, and we're going to go 3 wide. This could end in tears for someone. But wow, wagging tails like a overexcited puppy, and they still managed to save it somehow. I thought we were going to have another cautionary.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be it too. That was a great job by all those drivers of just trying to get everybody unhooked from each other and get the trucks back in a straight line.
Well, I
will agree with
that was going to be a yellow.
I will agree with you though, to your earlier statement. McManus is having a great run running the bottom of the track. He's been able to do what most drivers haven't been able to do so far.
Well, I'll tell you what, last time around, Charles, he ran a 15.7. That's 3 temps. He's in a 15.8. He's just completed another lap. So 15.8, so that's a temp slower. But that is still 2 temps quicker than our leaders. And there's nobody else running in the 15s. The next fastest is the 16 dead, which is Solo, and the 13, who's running second. Where is McManus finding this pace from right now? Because I think everyone else would love a bit of it.
It will be interesting to go back and look at what he's done since the restart. If he managed to run the high line for 20 or so laps to maximize or minimize his tire usage, and now he's got a little better tire set than everybody else does, since he can actually push it a little bit more.
Well, look at this. I think this is what's playing a part of it. Look, we're coming around. We've been green for so long. These guys are lapping traffic, and it's that ability to deal with that traffic. Also, McManus, his truck does not have a mark on it, that 9 right now. And you can see us there. Oh, no, we're going to have yellow. That's a big wreck. Yeah. We're wrecking here into turn 1. Yellow is out. That was a danger.
That first look, it looked like netcode, but we'll have to go back and look at the replay to make sure.
Wow, Spitzmüller, one of the drivers around, who was in that lead pack, pushing around. They were just trying to clear a back market. It was the 11 of Kittelman, and just squeezed him too high. Yeah. There was no. I know he's trying to get the run into the corner, Charles, but that's just taking. For me, that's taking. Oh, there we go. That was Spitzmüller came in with a secondary contact. It wasn't. It was. Let's have a bit of a look. It must have been Leitner, in fact. No, sorry, it would have been Ruse, actually, I think. Who just came up on him, and why risk it? Why gamble like that?
Yeah, that was too big of a gamble. There's plenty of track there to go too wide down the straight. You could have left a lot more room for the car as you're lapping it.
Well, surely we're going to see everyone into that pits right now. There you go. Not many people staying out as they all come round in this cautionary period. Pit. That's all you can see on the timing tire right now. And well, the tyres, they are at that maximum tyre life, aren't they, Charles? Like you said about Kapal in the Alcantech, the 64 electing to stay out. I'm not sure whether he's one of those drivers that's missed pit entry potentially, Charles. There are a few more that are staying out as well. Nevry, Spitzmüller, Kittelman, Sariano, Newman, Campbell, Gladden. Sorry, Gladden has retired, him and the other Toyota Munoz. Sorry, in lap 76 and lap 4 respectively. We're on lap 96. But I mean, even with worn tyres out, there we go. The rest, they've all come in. I can just see at the top of the screen right now. See them entering the pits. They've come in the second time around. But I think, no, Newman's still yet to come in, and according to my records, and just trying to maybe get some laps back. But stuck to lap 46. I mean, 50 laps old tyres, Charles. In that 7, you can see him in the lead of the pack. But I mean, that's the gamble just not worth taking, surely.
No, he'll. I think because he was already a lap down, then he should be able to come in and pit on the second time around for lap down cars. Maybe get lucky dog. To get a lap back, or to just stay out and get a lap back naturally. But yeah, it's this is not the point of the race that you want to gamble on trying to stay out on tires. We still got about 50 laps left. Yeah, we still got 50 laps to go. My guess is there's going to be another caution later on when we get to that 30 to 35 lap range. It looked like they really did a good job on that run. For the most part, everybody did a good job just running the tires out. So, yeah, so I figure there's at least another caution when you might want to see people maybe taking two-stop strategy or two-tire strategy. Maybe maybe no tires. I think that's risky even with 50 laps to go. But so we've still all to play for. So.
We've just seen there that Newman in the 7 just getting the wave around in the Ford. Everyone lining up to abreast right now. Lights out on the pastry truck. Did I just call it the pastry truck? Wow.
I mean, sure.
Wow. Well, you know. Who doesn't love a good cross-on in the to enjoy with their racing? But on the pace truck, that is in. The lights are off. That's in right now. We're going green after this 4th caution. And wow, look at the start there for that Roos has got straight into 2nd, past that 13. And I tell you what, McManus, he's having a good run down on that low side. He's going to pit. Oh no, round goes Roos, and we're wrecking here. And that's surely going to be another yellow. There we go, 5th caution. And wow, that could have gone far much worse for Roos.
Yeah, that could have gone far much worse for everyone. That was the one wreck that you don't want to see is the car coming off the bottom on a restart with basically the entire field behind them. So good job by everybody to avoid that.
Wow. Deep breath. But I tell you what, look who's the big winner out of that one. It's McManus in that 9. Look, he just got lucky. Picked that slightly lower line where he's been going high for, well, so long. And he avoided it all. Blick's caught up in it. And, well, that truck looking very bruised and battered right now of Roos. Damage to the front, damage to the rear. Drivers do have one fast repair available to them, but I think quite a few of them have already taken it, Charles.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is the point, though. If you've still got it, this is where you want to take it. Yeah, it just
went on him.
Went around on him.
I mean, luckily that hit turned him in the right direction. And it was his get-out-of-jail free card, wasn't it? As we've got Leitner into the pits in the 29, Roos in the 48, the 64 of Capel, the 40 of Solander, who's dropped right down through the order. He had a poor round of pit stops in the last cautionary as well, so he's not having the best of times right now.
48 had his fast repair still.
Oh, there we go. Wow. That's played right into his hands, but he has lost after all that hard work. And this is the frustrating part for Roos because he started in the back, did incredibly well. Just works his way through the field, come up, and now it's all going apart for him.
Yeah, so now he does have the work. He's got to be very, very smart because he doesn't have that fast repair to fall back on. And now he's got to work. He's got to pick his way back through the field, and he's got about 45 laps to do it.
The big question is, can he do it? I mean, you never say never at Bristol, really, do you? Anything can happen here in Tennessee.
Yeah, you don't, especially now that he's got a clean truck, so everything should be good to go. Shouldn't have any issues with aero or spoiler damage, so he should be as fast as he can be. But once again, now you've got. He's got 10 cars in front of him. So that's going to be the challenge. The 9 looks really, really good. But I think the problem that 48 had last time was he had that good run at the bottom, but he never really cleared the 13. So that's going to be the challenge for 9, for McManus and the 9 truck, is can he get clear of the 13 and establish himself in P2 to challenge the leader.
Can he do it? Lights off on the pace truck, not the pastry truck as I called it earlier, the slip of the tongue. Can McManus at that 9 continuing his rich reign of form and move through the field up another place, up onto the top step of the podium. Name was look quick or 9 in that 88. Solo's been with him every step of the way in the 13. Don't discredit Blix in the 95. He's restarting on that second row. Pace truck in. We're going green here once again in the last great Coliseum that is Bristol. And who's going to get the start? Who's going to make the jump? Who's going to climb some places? And McManus in that 9 straight on it. But look at the run. The 95's gone right around the outside. And the 33 as well, following through. I tell you what, that highlight's looking like the best one right now, Charles, at this restart.
Yeah, you could get such a great run. The tires are still new for everybody. So that high line is getting just really good runs out of the corner, through the corners.
As you see the 33 and the 95 battling in out, scrapping away the two teammates of Alcantech right now. Sufi coming right back into the equation in that 32 Toyota after running some, well, looked like he was struggling for pace. 2 cautions ago. Lap 108, 42 remaining here from Bristol. Can we go green to the end? Sufi, the 81 there, even of Halford Darson getting great one on the 17 of Blakesley.
The 81's doing really well. He's back up to 7th after basically causing a caution earlier in the race. So he's done a good job to keep his truck clean.
I tell you what, those early stops, and it'd be interesting to find out exactly what caused them for Newman and trying to think who, and I can't remember who the other driver was now. Right now, not paid off for them. They've not been able to recover all race long and still laps down. They are Newman only 1 lap now. Now he was 2 laps down. Did get the lucky dog under the last cautionary period. But here we are. Who can improve? But I tell you what, those top 3 really starting to pull away. Gunnison just about staying onto their tail in the 33, but then the Blixed in the 95 really started to drop down, and there's some gap opening up between that lead group of 4 and the rest of the field.
Yeah, they've done a good job of just staying in line and kind of breaking away, not really battling side by side, which has given them a chance to put a gap. I have noticed that there goes McManus down low.
McManus, I tell you what, he's giving it a good go. And it's really slowing up that 13 of Solo because it's allowing Schnabel in the 88 to really open up a gap right now with 0.8 of a second is what it stands at and pull away. As you just see the 32 just trying to get a run. We're on board with the 37 that sticks. And you can just get a real appreciation of the speed and the tightness that is Bristol.
Yeah, for sure. And I've been looking back at Roos also, and just really hasn't been able to get anything going. He's just still stuck back around where he started on the last restart.
I mean, it's all skimming the wall. In front of him was the 81 of Halford Darson. And Chevy Silverado, well, it's going to lost a bit of paint, which is going to make it a little bit lighter. Now it's onto the wall and off his truck. But you see, I mean, you've got to get as close to that wall as you dare, Charles, without touching it. And that's the difference between being quick and being really quick.
Yeah, that is true. And it's just, once again, it's just knowing how much you can push through the corner and how fast you can get back on the throttle out of the corner will determine whether you're checkers or wreckers.
The 32, there's Sufi. A lot more pace under this green period than what he had previously. Really trying to take that fight to the 95 of Blix. But you can see yet again, those two lines starting to balance out with one another, and if anything, I think that inside line starting to prove a little bit slower than you see from the 95, just carrying around that outside line, just that, not much, Charles, not much, but it's just ever so slightly faster.
It is, and the bad part about being down on the bottom now is what.
Oh, 95 in the wall. 95's in the wall. He scrapes it, and that's allowed the 73 to split the pair of them and take control of this group. What a move from Hutchinson, and that's 73. He saw a gap and he won it. I mean, 3 wide, we saw it earlier. It was a dangerous and tight affair, but he did it at the right time, at the right moment. He had the overspeed, and it worked to great effect. He's left these guys for dead.
Yeah, obviously he was being very patient, waiting for this battle and waiting for his opportunity, and he found it. Fortune favors the bold, and the 95 truck got high, got into the wall, which was just enough room for him to shoot the gap.
That's the 32 and the 95 still scrapping it away. Are we going to go 3 wide yet again here at Bristol?
Yeah.
Oh, they're in the wall. The 32 and the 7 turn each other around, all back across the track. This is a big wreck, Charles.
That is the big one, and that's why you don't try and do 3 wide at Bristol. We've been talking about that all race. The 73 made a good run, but those opportunities don't happen very often. It ends up more likely than not what we just saw.
Wow. This is caution. Let's take a look at exactly how it happened. And it was the 7 of Newman that just saw the gap, went for it, and then the 32 just came up that little bit into the 7, hit the wall, back across the track, just skittled everyone who was coming through. And then it was just, well, hope and pray that something happened to allow you to get through, that you didn't get collected. Some did, some didn't.
And that's it. 7 did nothing wrong. There was a gap. He went for the gap, but it looks like the 32 truck either just kind of pushed up the track a bit, or maybe had to catch the rear. And there's just no room for error at that point.
Well, I'm guessing, Spotter would have been telling him car on the outside, which there was. It was the 95 who was scraping the wall, which allowed the 7 to get the run. But, of course, he wouldn't have, he just would have thought it would have been the 95 that was on his right. He wasn't expecting the 7 to suddenly be there and to be 3 wide, and that, to allow himself, he was going to move up the track as he naturally would have done, thinking the 95 was still there and giving him plenty of room, not realising it was 3 wide, and just moving up by a few inches would make all the difference. There's so many into the pits. I tell you what, it's all bar our top 6 are into the pits here, Charles, and, well, everyone behind is just going for it. In terms of fresh tyres, see them home to the end with 23 to go here in Bristol.
Yeah, so we've gone, 30-odd laps on this set, and the guys up front have really good pace, so they're going to try and stick it out, and they're not going to give up track position at this point, which I think is probably a pretty smart play.
But surely it's going to be a gamble here, Charles, because they're running much older tyres. I mean, they're running on 30-lap older tyres than basically everyone from 6, which is the 33 of Gunnison, downwards.
It is a gamble, but I mean they're going to be probably a half second a lap slower than the people who come in and take tires. But it's one thing to be faster than the guy in front. It's another thing to be able to pass them, and I think that's what these guys are banking on.
I mean, it's a big gamble. I mean, they're going to have gone near as just over 50 laps, about 55 laps on this set of tyres, because this is, for me, this is what my worry is for this top 5 right now, is that they, pit again under the next caution, assuming we have one. I mean, maybe that's part of it. They're hoping, banking, and praying that we don't have one. Lights are off the pace truck. That is going to be in this time around. But if they come in again, everyone else doesn't have to pit. They can make it home on this set of tyres comfortably. We've got 21 to go. And I think they could lose out big time, especially my big worry the most is for the 81, which is lining up alongside the 33, which has fresh tyres on it. And the 81, I think, could struggle this restart. Let's find out. We're green once again. And not the best start there by the 13, and that's going to allow that 9, which is now vying for second place strongly as we are heading off and away. We've got two more that have come in very late at the end of the caution. They're going to head laps down. 90 to go here at Bristol.
Yeah,
9.5 miles of fun, action, and drama. I think we're in for.
I absolutely agree. I think the 13, I think maybe lit his rears up on that restart. Did not get a great run. The 9 is now battling, and as we see again, you know, they're side by side. The 9 can get even with them, but just can't pass them.
Wow, look at that 33 though. That is Gunnarsson. He is on fresh tyres and he has eaten for breakfast. Halford Dawson in the 81, Hutchinson in the 73. He's breezed past them and he's just like he's out for a Sunday stroll, walking up to the back of these three in front of him. And I get a feeling they're going to be the next on his hit list, because I think he's just going to drive right around the outside of that 9 of McManus. Yeah,
definitely. He's got about a 2 to 3/10 lap, or 2 to 3/10 of a second advantage every lap.
He's bumped the 9. He's bumped the 9.
Good catch by the 9. Good catch by the 9. So yeah, just contact too wide coming out of the corner.
Well, 9 nearly tagged the 37 there. Sticks as he rejoined him. The 37 held it incredibly well, but that is gutting for McManus after running so strongly. Wow. Gunnarsson up into third now. As we said, the one to watch. We have those fresh tyres. Don't discredit Sticks in the 37, the top of the Toyota runners right now. He's on fresh tyres too. He started on the front row. What a recovery from him. He pitted randomly on like the opening laps, fell right to the back of the pack, fell a lap down. Through the lucky dog, he got back onto the lead lap, and he's now in contention for the lead. Once again, here at Bristol, Sticks round the outside, so on the inside of Solo, the 37 there. Wow. Sorry, that's it. Yeah, Sticks round. So 37 making past the 13. That was a great pass, and I tell you what, he's got the run on the 88 here. This is going to be for the lead.
What a great run. He just basically, as you said earlier, just kind of dominated the corner and just got a great run down the straight. But 33 up to the front.
Wow. I tell you what, it's all the drivers that are on those fresh tyres, because those that didn't pit, McManus down in 10th. The 73 of Hutchinson, he's down in 8th. Halford Dawson, he's in 7th. He didn't pit either. Neither did Schnabel and Solo. They're 3rd and 4th right now. And then, well, Solo, make that 5th, because here comes the 17 of Blakesley, another truck who pitted in the last caution. Going to walk straight past, and I think it says the 40 is Solander.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of. I don't think that I don't think there's enough laps to where the tires are going to equal out. So I think all these guys are just going to keep working their way forward.
Well, we've got 8 to go here at Bristol. 8 more chances to make overtakes, to get progression through the field. But Schnabel holding on for dear life to that podium position, but I don't think he's going to do it because he's on those old tyres. Blakesley in the 17 Toyota says, see you later, I'll have that place off you. I've got fresh rubber, I'm coming through. And the 40 of Solander doing exactly the same right now. They're attempting to against the 13 of Solo, who's holding on for dear life on that high side, trying to keep some life in those tyres, trying to keep some speed in that truck. But look who's coming to join the fight right behind him. It's well, it's just getting everyone's coming up behind him, and that big warrior had Charles. Those roosters are coming in the roost right now because they're just falling through the pack, and they've got no answer for it.
Yeah, nope. You know, tires are king for little short tracks like this, and so the guys that stayed out, they took a gamble, did not pay off. And the 37, even with damage on the right front, is still just really all over the 33.
That was a back marker for the 29, and come the 33, which is Gunnarsson. Can he hold on? This is a fight for the lead. We got 3 to go here at Bristol. Sticks in the 37 on the outside, and he's going to get the run, and he's past the 33. What a move for the lead. Back up in front. A rags to riches tail, fell right to the back of the pack, fell a lap down in fact, did Sticks, but he is back up and he is in the lead. White flag in the air, 1 lap here to go at Bristol, and he just needs to hold on right now because Gunnarsson in the 33 Chevrolet doesn't have any answer whatsoever, but Sticks, as he exits turn 4, is gonna take the checkered and the victory here for the first time this season. What a race, what a drive from the Austrian.
Wow, what a great run at the end of that race. He just absolutely, it's really shocking. He didn't look like he had the pace to do much of anything for the better part of the race. But this last restart, he just worked his way to the front almost effortlessly.
He did, didn't he? He just, well, I mean, he drove around the outside of him, and I know he would have got the overspeed from, utilising that banking as like a slope to help accelerate that Toyota. It's the first win this season for Toyota as well, but even so, I mean, he just had so much more pace around that outside and had it when he needed it and when it needed to be counted for.
Yeah, for sure. Great run by him. Well-deserved victory.
It is. We'll look forward to having a chat to him because, wow, that is a real big story coming out of Tennessee here today. And victory donuts going on, and your Class of 5 results. Sticks in the end. Wow, wasn't even close. 0.4 of a second across a 15-second lap. That is a big winning margin over Gunnison in the 33, who comes home second. Blakesley, a great result for him with all 3 drivers. That's the fun. 2 of them, Sticks and Blake, they've been on podium. That's the second place in a row for Gunnison. After he picked up second last time out at Michigan. Delander in the end came through the field. He finished in 4th with Schnabel, the first of the drivers not to take pits under that last cautionary period. He comes home 5th. Likewise, Solo in 6th. Spitzmuller 7th with Halford Arson. Hutchinson, McManus in the end. That's gutting for him. I know. Didn't pit under the last cautionary period. No, sorry, he did, didn't he? But just that slight incident earlier on, it's what caused him to fall through the field. What would have been, I'm sure, an almost definitive podium for him in the number 9. Capel and Nevery, last 2 drivers finished on the lead lap. Then we had our reigning champion Norbert Leitner came home 13th. Sufi 14th. Bit disappointing for him because he was running a bit stronger. Roos 2 laps down. Likewise was Sariano. Campbell finished 3 laps down. Regis Clark in the number 2 finished 7 laps down. Then into the retirement. Blixt, we lost him on lap 134. Newman on lap 125. Kittleman on 109. Gladden, we lost on lap 76. And Mignot, we lost all the way back on lap 4. Wow, Charles. I was a bit dubious coming into Bristol. I wasn't sure. I thought it might be a little bit processional. But we've had anything but that, haven't we?
Yeah, it was, we started off a little cautiously. I guess I'll use that as a pun. So a little unsteady there at the beginning, but the last 2/3 of the race were fantastic. We had 1 caution, 2 cautions, and managed to run 100 of the 150 laps with only a couple cautions. So it was a fantastic race, and loved the strategies at the end.
Likewise. Let's have a bit of a chat to some of our drivers. First up, we're joined by Lennart Schnabel, who, well, Lennart, that strategy of not pitting and that last caution is what cost you, I think, what would have been a victory here today.
Yeah, I think the last caution cost us the victory either way. Because if we would have pitted, maybe the whole grid wouldn't have go into the pits. So it was a tricky decision. I thought it would be a better idea to stay out, just to keep track position. Didn't work out, but still getting a top 5 in is pretty dope, I guess.
I mean, yeah, you still finished up 2 places. I mean, just describe to us, obviously, what it was like coming through the lap traffic. It looked a bit treacherous at times, and it was it was costing you guys quite a bit of time. And I know you had McManus in the number 9. He was catching you guys and starting to apply a pressure onto yourself and your teammates solo. Were you starting to get a bit worried because he seems to be looking after his tyres quite a bit better during that green flag period than what everyone else did?
Yeah, I tried to look after my tires. Didn't work out as I hoped for. But especially going through the left cars, it's a bit difficult because you will kill your tires if you stay at the bottom. Yeah, it's difficult to judge how far you can go while saving tires. That's a bit difficult on short courses, but yeah, I think we managed it pretty well.
Well, and complete change of scenery and driving style. Next time out, back onto the big ovals, Talladega, foot to the floor the whole way round. Complete contrast to Bristol. I think it could be quite an interesting race next time out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everybody is in contention to win this race at Talladega. Stuff can happen on lap 1 or in the last lap, or in between. It's a bit of roulette. Just trying to get through and hope for the best.
Exactly, just trying to get you run at the right time. That's Leonard Schnabel, who finished 5th in the end in the 88 Chevrolet for Alcantech, NHR by Alcantech. Well, let's wait for see if any of the other drivers join us. A bit of a chance to mention right now here at Apex Racing TV, part of the Apex Racing Group as a whole will be holding an open day. That will be a free barbecue. That's a week today. There'll be hot lap competitions. There's a tournament going on which you can take part in. There's a paint bar as well, and you get to meet everyone from all the pros from the racing team, and also a few of us from the commentary booth will be there as well. I know Sam Fitzpatrick, myself, and I know also Seb Bosch and Williams will all be in attendance. We'll look forward to meeting you. Although you're wondering, how much is this going to cost me for all this great fun, Tim? Well, it is completely free. Drop a link into the description where you can bag yourself a free ticket. There'll be giveaways throughout the day. We'll have plenty of great prizes and chance to use some absolutely amazing VRS pedals and wheels throughout the day. They're absolutely cracking. Chance to try them out. You'll be using them in the competitions. Make sure you check that link out and come and join in the fun here at Apex. Well, I don't think it looks like anyone else is wanting to speak to us, Charles. I can't blame him in some ways because that was... Well, I think I'm going to have to go take a lie down in a cold, dark room after that one. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it's one of these races that's really ramps you up, and you need a little bit of a break after this because tight racing for an hour is extremely difficult.
Oh, it is indeed. And, well, it's been an absolute pleasure with you. Congratulations to Pascal Sticks of Cool Sim Racing in the 37 Toyota, taking the victory here today. Going on right now on Apex Racing TV. We've got plenty going on. It's IGP fun. We've also got the SRF Weekend Warriors. Make sure you hop across, check out those two races. Big grids, big action. Always entertaining to watch, but, well, Bristol, we knew it'd be tight. We knew it'd be fast. We knew it'd be furious. We knew there'd be cautions. We knew there'd be drama. And we got it all in absolute abundance. From myself, Tim Cox, Charles Pichel, and John Robson. Thanks so much for joining us. And we'll see you in a week's time from Talladega.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.